Found my stone here, little sandstone block found up there. I'm just washing it off in the stream just to get rid of all the kind of gunk that's on the surface. So now I've washed my stone in the little stream that's down there. I now want to find myself a workstation. See, so this definitely seems like a better spot. With this tree stump here, seems like a good height. Get the stone up on here and then and start cracking away, but it's a bit of a tight. We've got these fir trees here, and so I'm going to kind of need to give myself a little bit of space. So I've managed to pin some of these branches back around here, and then just cleared a little space on the ground as well by some of the sort of dead foliage. These kind of shoots I just cleared out the way, and then obviously all the living stuff and the good stuff that obviously remains, because these guys are our friends. We don't want to be clearing those away. Whenever we're doing these sort of things, we want to be thinking about the environment that we're doing it in and have as little impact as possible. So stone sits up on here. Fortunately, it's got this kind of section here that didn't get cut away. Nice little rest for the back of it. Still going to need to do some stuff at the bottom to make it sit more solidly before I start carving into it. Just using my jacket to weigh some of the rest of these branches down. Handy little tree over here where I can put my coffee flask, and then I'm feeling good. I'm in a beautiful spot. Got the stream here with the spring. This is fresh. This is spring water, so I need a drink of water, get it straight from the stream. Need to wash my stone. I've got the stream, so this is pretty idyllic. So I'm into a kind of like a bit, I suppose you could call it hobby or whatever you want to call it. I'm sort of collecting stones as part of like a viewing stones tradition. So you kind of collect a stone for its kind of aesthetic value, because you like perceive imagery on the stone, and then perhaps derive meaning from that process. Derive meaning, some people might see it as project meaning. However you want to view it, I suppose there could be different kind of philosophical ideas on that. But then it gets complicated, because some of these stones, most definitely I believe, were actually modified by people in the past. So people in the past might have done a similar kind of thing, so collected geofacts and kind of saw imagery on them that then kind of had some kind of cultural, social significance, and then through that process people perhaps even started to sort of modify these stones. A kind of sort of way of record keeping, and kind of altering the environment, and kind of in a kind of tribal, pre-literate sort of society. But anyway, so the situation being that then if you're coming and collecting these stones to kind of modify yourself, how do you know is this just a geofact, is it just a viewing stone, was it modified by someone in the ancient past? And it can be quite difficult to tell. So then in some ways I kind of have to go through a process of checking it. If it really seems like it is, like most certainly to me seems like it's an ancient artifact, a modified stone, then I'm not going to use it. If I'm not too sure, then I have to sort of check the vibes, kind of ask, if you know what I mean, is this the right stone? And for example, today I had an intention. I saw a stone here much larger than the one I collected a couple of weeks ago, and I thought to myself that'd be a good stone to carve. And then I came back here today with the kind of view in mind that I was going to work on that stone. But then when I went to it today, it didn't feel right, and I'd already passed the stone that I collected today on my way down to that stone. And I looked, and as I passed it, I thought that would be quite a good one to have a go on as well. And when I went back to that stone, that felt like the right one for today. So it seemed you got to kind of check the vibes, I think, and go with the one that feels right. Basically, ask in your own way. You don't have to ask out. You know, you can do it internally, just like, okay, is this the right one for today? And then you'll kind of get that response. Everything's like that. Life is like that. You kind of do the internal ask, and you get the internal answer. Now I've been taking so much time to actually get to this point. I'll probably start trying to I'll probably have a coffee, to be fair, and then start trying to crack into this stone. So now I've got my stone up, and I'm kind of seeing the orientation that I want to start working on it, some areas where I want to start focusing my work. And then firstly I'm looking at sort of securing it. I've got to level off the bottom to try and make it sit securely, so I'm not going to hit it and it goes flying off the trunk here. So I've just cracked into it a bit. You can see I've started to sort of form the shape over here, and kind of just getting some water, keeping it wet, pouring water over it as I go, so it kind of remains clean and I kind of see what I'm doing. So in a way I wish I'd have had things set up so I could have filmed myself whilst I was doing the carving, but I kind of didn't have it set up that way. But anyway, I mean, you can see where I've started to take it with the person's head that morphs into the form of an elephant or mammoth or whatever. I'm going to sort of go through and just sort of detail some more of the face features. But I've been using a chisel up to this point, and then using just my normal hammer stone as a hammer. But then to do the face, I'm going to use flint, a bit of flint. So I just sharpened up a bit of flint flake that I had. So you can get the profile this way, and then as we kind of move around, the piece kind of morphs. And we can also get the elephant. You can kind of get the profile looking up like this. Okay, so this is kind of where I got to with it. So you kind of can have the side profile here and then move it round to get the kind of straight on face. Obviously I couldn't stay in the forest all day yesterday, so I had to come back, and as I was walking back to my car, I was looking at the stone, and I kind of, you know, sort of just reflecting on my kind of initial intentions, and you kind of have to sort of have a moment where you regather and sort of see if are you kind of still, how much is the stone in control and how much are you in control, and keeping to your kind of initial intentions when you set out to carve a piece. And as I was looking at the stone, it had that anamorphic feel, you know, that you get with the viewing stones, which is basically that the facial features are kind of spread across a surface, and the proportions and the placement isn't right from most angles, and then you kind of find that angle where it all kind of snaps into focus and comes together, and that's the kind of anamorphic, what you call anamorphism. And that was mostly dictated by a particular, the eye that was on the left side, that was kind of already there, as a what I assumed to be a natural feature on the stone, and because I was kind of trying to retain that, the eyes were not sitting right in comparison to the nose. And as I was walking back, I kind of had a regather and regrouped on my kind of my thoughts, and you know, I had intended to carve, not be dictated so much by the kind of the anamorphism and the existing content on the stone, and to try and carve something more of my own intention with this softer stone. So what I'm trying to say is, I basically, when I got home, I carved a bit more, got rid of the eyes that I'd already kind of started to place, and place some new eyes, trim the nose right down. So I'm just going to show you some of that. So this is where, after I kind of decided, so previously the eye was up here, there's an eye up here, and then I'd start to put another one here, and when the piece was, I had it at a bit of a different angle, and from a certain vantage point they were working together, but then as you moved around they just didn't work at all. And I felt like I wanted to make it more of a sort of convincing face that holds together as you view around it. So I started to, as I say, move the eyes so they're kind of where they sit in relation to the nose is more accurate. Trim the nose right down because it was much wider, kind of a lot messier. So I tried to sort of put the ridge in more centrally, and then we kind of got the indication for the mouth. That's all coming together. So although I'm going to have to work a bit more on these features, they're just sort of there to put in place where the features are going to go. And then we've definitely got a character here. He reminds me of somebody, possibly Robert De Niro. I don't know. So this is it. You know, this video is just, as I say, it'll be obvious to people I'm not like a professional sculptor or anything like that. It's a nice activity to go into the forest, find yourself a stone, start to interact with it, and let the stone dictate a certain amount, and then get to a point and decide how much control do I want to take over this process. And it's kind of all about that thing of sort of, as I say, asking those internal questions, and it's a really rewarding process. Makes you feel good. So that's why I'm sharing it. Hope you've enjoyed, and definitely I'll look forward to doing all this again. But cheers for watching, and I will see you next time.